Hey, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to give our viewers a few more moments to come on, but I want to welcome you all again to a special edition of, I want to say, our live stream. I'm not so happy about doing this tonight because it's a conversation that we need to have about our community and conversation. But it's something that we've been going through for years, especially Black men. And I would think also Black women have gone through it also. But our topic tonight was really about children. It's like how do our children respond when they see people killing us and we can't even defend ourselves? We're getting a little feedback. I don't know where it's coming from. Let me try something, see what's happening. 1 second. But while I'm doing there, we have a special guest, of course. You already said his name is Joe Hensley. I'm going to try to get rid of some of this static. All right. Okay. That should help us a little bit. And I think it does. It solves the problem. But, I was contemplating, I said, what can we do to address this issue about Black men being killed and make it child related? But then I saw this child holding a sign saying, "Am I next?" And it really touched my spirit. The child was holding a sign, a Black boy was holding a sign saying, "Am I next?" Just for those who are signing on, my name is Dr. Willie Miles. I'm the president of Dr. Willie Miles Children Foundation, located right here in Atlanta, Georgia. You all know me, many of you all do. And for those who are just signing on, we want to welcome you. Hi, Joyce. Thank you for signing on with us. Let me give you a backdrop first. And then Joe and I will have a conversation about what it means to be a Black male here. There are many publications that deal with the killing of Black men. There's one called Black Boys, Black Men Newsletter, and it was published June 2nd, 2020. And it says 83 Black men and boys killed by police officers. Now that's by police officers. It's only for a certain time period, but how many have been killed by vigilantes? How many have been killed, and we say uselessly, what other words can you choose? I mean, it's like we're being hunted, and it's like there's a reason to kill us. As a Black man, I am troubled. I'm really troubled. And when I saw the Floyd murder, and I called it a murder, I sat there and watched this man take his last breath. But I also watched other human beings walk by, would not do a thing for fear of being killed by police officers and it being justified. And not only did I watch it, but there are hundreds of Black boys, teenagers, and who watched him. They're trying to figure out, why ain't the Black community doing something? Why are we not doing something? Why are we not moving? Why are we not activating? And what it says to our children is that Black men are scared and that the popo has more power over us. When I talk about this, I think about slavery. And I think about what they did to slaves who ran away. They would kill them publicly to ensure that all the slaves saw it, so they would know if they misbehaved, this is what would happen to them also. Just very troubling. So I asked Joe to come on. Joe is the president of the Joe Hensley. I call him Joe affectionately. He's the president of the Joe Hensley Foundation, which does a lot of things for youth, period. And he awards scholarships and he helps kids get to college. But it ain't that kind of conversation. I want you to know what he does. He can tell you more about it. But I'm really here to talk about us as Black men and what we deal with daily, Joe. Yeah, you have any comments?
Oh man, it's I think we're in some very troubling times. You didn't state, but I'm retired military. I'm a 100% disabled veteran. And to hear the president say that he's going to unleash the military onto the streets of the United States of America, stuff that we did in Iraq, stuff that we did in Africa, it's very, very troubling. It's very, very troubling.
But Joe, he did that under the guise of civil disobedience. But the people these army people would be attacking would be who?
will
It's
be
gonna,
us
it's
American
gonna be,
citizens.
it's
It
gonna
will
be
be
black
us.
folk out there, and there's some white out there also. So I applaud those whites who are there. I'm not giving them a cookie for it. My only point is that they should be there. They should be there with us.
That's right.
But he said he would release the United States Army to go out there and get things in order, like he is like
a dictator, like you're a dictator.
But you and I are both black, and it's obvious. Let's talk about how this thing affects us and then our children.
I'd
Joe,
love to.
Joe, are you still going through this thing, Joe, like I am? Like, when I drive, now it has nothing to do with degrees, but I'm saying I have the highest degree in the land. I'm educated. Joe, you're educated. I'm saying like when I'm driving and I get near a cop, I get nervous.
Oh,
I ain't guilty about nothing.
Oh man, like I live in a nice neighborhood. I go walking every morning like everybody else. On this particular morning, I was walking, and the police just pulled me over. And it wasn't just one police. They was gonna make sure that they got somebody this morning because
you didn't belong there. Because you didn't belong there.
But they had a Hispanic cop, they had a Caucasian cop, and they had an African American cop. So they was gonna make sure that they got somebody that was black or brown that morning. And I so happened, I had my do-rag on because I had my sweats. I had my sweats on. I'm walking around, I'm doing my morning walk, I'm doing my morning meditation, right? And in the middle of my morning meditation, the police just pulled me over, asked, do I have ID? Who wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning and have their ID on when they go on walking in their neighborhood?
Sounds like
so
apartheid.
It could have easily got out of hand. It could have easily got out of hand. But just say if I was somebody that had a frustrating morning, it could have easily got out of hand and things could have escalated very, very quickly. Because you can see in the live that I was very, very frustrated at the whole situation. Because he's like, hey, how you doing, buddy? Hey, how you doing, buddy?
But Joe, what I want to do, I want to give them a feel of what it's like to be, and I want you to keep this in the context now. Okay. What it's like to be a black male raising black male children and seeing a system that we have to be passive to because of our color.
Wow. I mean,
go on.
It's very, very frustrating. Like, I wanted to make sure that I got dialogue from some of the young people because I wasn't able to have them with me because of the COVID-19 and health issues. But I had kids 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old, like an 18-year-old kid. He just got done with his freshman year in college. And he said that I won't even pull over for the cop. I'd just rather go on a high speed chase and hope that I get away so I can live. This is what a 17-year-old kid told me, or 18-year-old kid that just got done with his first year of college. And how can it's so troubling. I mean, another kid was like, it was inevitable for the fact that they're harassing us. I'm talking about these young kids, they're harassing us.
But Joe, before you go to the kids, we have an opportunity as black men to let our audience know what we go through. So we're going through that. We know the kids are going to go through it. But the bigger question is, how does it make us look to our children? I'm talking about we're supposed to be the protectors and we're supposed to be standing up for life. But our kids have to see us say, yes, sir, and I ain't doing nothing, and please don't kill me. So what happens, it emasculates us.
Right.
It emasculates us, and it makes us less than men to our children and to our wives and to our women because we can't do anything for fear of being killed.
That's right.
So I want to talk more about our experiences and what our kids see. Our experiences is when I'm driving while black, I'm nervous until I reach my destination. Until I reach my destination. I am always cautious about where I am. Now, think about it. This ain't slavery. This is supposed to be America. When I get out of the car, I'm looking around to see who's watching, and if somebody's staring at me too long, they must be profiling me.
Right.
Joe, it's not even just going on in the community. It's on jobs. It's at school. It's everywhere we go.
Oh man, I live in Portsmouth, Virginia, and at this time, at this very moment, right? They're protesting Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A had an owner that was of African American descent, right? He was making $30,000 a day. $30,000 a day he was making, right? He ended up selling it to somebody that wasn't African American descent. He had a very diverse staff. This new person came in and fired all of the managers after those managers actually trained the people that he's now putting into management. So it's a big thing going on just right here. So just to talk about work, it's very, very frustrating. We got NAACP involved. We've got the national Chick-fil-A involved. And it's all because of not wanting to diversify his store.
Well,
So, I mean,
well, I understand that. I understand it. Well, if 45 doesn't want to diversify, why should anyone else? It's
right.
it's like follow the leader. And I'm not gonna allow myself to get upset, because when you get upset, you make bad decisions when it's involving emotions. I want to talk about this, and my goal was to make sure that our audience hears a passionate about us as Black men. I ain't talking about Joe Blow. I'm talking about what we go through, or what you have gone through. I'm talking about jobs. Well, guess what? I was the highest degree on many jobs I've had, but I have to have white males or females who only had one degree to supervise me.
Wow.
To supervise me.
Oh, yeah.
So we're always having to make adjustments just to live.
That's right. That's right. I mean,
so it's like every day, isn't it?
It's every day. Like I got a nonprofit organization. I'm with a lot of other organizations that have similar organizations, but they're not of African American descent, right? And I can see them getting a lot more funding when they're doing a lot less than what we're doing. Right. And I mean, it's only one way to put it of why that's happening, because you see the grind, you see the work that we putting in, because you following us and you seeing us. But when you cutting checks to other organizations, they 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times more than what you cutting to our organization.
Because they don't trust us. Right. It's racism. Joe, that's what it is. It is racism.
Like I've been had relationships with businesses for 5, 6 years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just now getting into their circle. You know, they just now invited me to dinner. And I'm like, man, if I could have been doing this five years ago, I'll be 5, 10 times further along than where I am now. Well, I'm talking about they bringing in people that's been in the game a lot longer and making a lot of money and bringing all of the resources in. And all you're doing is sitting at the table. And you're like, man, what have this been all of my life? But, it is what it is.
I kind of learned not to depend upon folk like that. You know, I want to get the funding, and I should get the funding, but guess what? I believe in a higher power that says, what's for me, I'm going to get, and can't no man stop it. So, and I also go there very boldly. Boldly. Oh, yeah. But I'm going to bring this back to killings of Black people. I have a list here. We have Natasha Tony McDade, who was killed in Tallahassee on May 27th. She was a trans man. Killed, running from the community. We have George Floyd. Y'all know about him because it's all over the news. You got Steve Muhammad. Now, this is the report only on killed by police. There is not the report that says by vigilante. So I guess the whole theme of this is, what does this do to our families and to the Black boys who say, Dad, you're supposed to protect me? You know, Keisha Lance Bottom said something that struck me, and it shook my soul. She said, on the day that George was killed, she called her son and said, where are you? And told him to get home because she could not protect him now.
Wow. I mean, what I'm saying, every time the kids go out and come back, you know what I mean? That's a concern that we have like each and every day. Like, when our kids are they gonna make it home safe? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and we worrying. I mean, to answer the question, that's what we worry about every single day. You know what I'm saying? The things that I taught them: make sure you put your hand on the steering wheel. Make sure, yes sir, no sir, right? And you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
troubling. It's
right.
troubling.
You know, one of our listeners just asked me, do you have a topic for this live stream? To my audience, we have a topic for everything we do. We're not just sitting here talking now. We send out flyers and announcements, email, on all the social media. This whole conversation is about the impact of seeing Black men killed, the impact that it has on Black male children.
Mm-hmm. And all right, so to answer that question directly, okay, because I did get a lot of dialogue from a lot of the young people that we work with.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they said this they don't trust the government, one,
mm-hmm.
right? And they said if they have to have a confrontation with the government or the police, for that matter, that they gonna buck, like they gonna not obey, which is not the right thing to do, right? But with them seeing people getting killed
mm-hmm.
for obeying, they just left at all. Like, what do I do?
No, they don't see people getting killed for not obeying. They see people get killed for being Black.
Right, they see people getting killed for being Black. So that
right.
make them that make them not even want to be in a situation. So if they don't obey, they got an opportunity to get killed.
Right. But you know, the other thing too is really important is that it is, you know, as a mental health clinician, my concern is what kind of traumas does it set for those children. And see, see, Joe, part of this is not just, you know, just seeing it, but it's when our families demasculate us or emasculate us. You know, when our wives say, you're not being the man you should be, you're not protecting me, you're not doing this and that. And then we are faced with this society that doesn't value us. And it's evident. They do not value us. I accepted that a long time ago and decided that I don't need anybody to validate me.
That's right.
And that's why working for people, for me, is very difficult.
Okay.
Because God has given me a gift. And if his word is true, he said he'll make room for your gifts.
That's right.
So I must go out there and trust him. But as a Black man, and I tell my sons, you are not valued. Your life doesn't mean anything to anybody but me. I tell my sons that when I was raising them, I said, listen, I want you to understand who you are. Your life is not valuable to anybody else but me. So if you go out there and do anything, guess what? You may be killed because other people don't value you. And I don't want to hear that, oh, they did it. Well, guess what? Let's just be real. They are white. Now, let's be very, very clear. Let's be very, very clear. Because I am pro-Black doesn't mean I'm
anti-anything. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's
because
right.
white people ought to be pro-white.
Right.
That, I mean, but because everything else is pro for them.
Right.
So I'm simply saying that, and it's not a white bashing, but let's just deal with the reality. It is racism at its core. And what troubles me, Joe, is that when I talk to young people, and I ask some of those young people, does racism exist? And Joe, they tell me no, they have not experienced it.
Wow. They don't see it and it's slapping them right in the face. I don't get or understand that either, you know, because they'll say a statement and it's like they don't understand the answer that they just gave, that's racism.
Right.
So, I mean, I think it's more of educating them and explaining to them what's going on, to hopefully so they can have their eyes open and they can see what's going on, or they can recognize it when it is going on.
But that's also a parent responsibility. You know, parents told you, your parents told you the story about slavery and how hard it was, and told you about how you have to watch people and not trust and all that kind of stuff. And my parents told me. So I should be telling my children. The problem is that we stop telling our children the story because somebody told us that we have arrived.
Right. You want to trust, but verify. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna trust you, but only to a certain extent. You know
Joe,
what I
I ain't
mean?
trusting you.
You say you ain't trusting them.
I
You
ain't
ain't trusting
trusting.
them from the beginning.
It is strictly a business relationship.
Right, that's it. That's all I'm saying. But you gotta, even in a business relationship, you gotta trust
Right.
them. If not,
Right.
but you gotta build that relationship.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. But far as seeing all of our kids being grown-ups and kids, because if you look at a lot of the stuff that's going on, this ain't the older generation that's out protesting and in some case even rioting. You know what I'm saying? That's like kids 16 to 22. If you look at the majority of it, that's the age of the kids. Like, they're tired of it. They're tired of it, and they're tired of seeing us, being as nonchalant as we was, or accepting it like we did. This is a generation that's not for that. They're not for that, and they're not gonna have that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I got kids. I got kids that had the signs and going to protest. So I understand that they're very, very frustrated.
But it's also about purpose. What we're seeing a younger generation, not only of blacks, but of whites. If you notice all those protests, I have never seen so many white people attend anything. And I was happy to see it. And there are many reasons why that they're attending. Again, I want my viewers to understand, I am not anti-white, but I would be crazy not to be pro-black. Because if I were not pro-black, it would be genocide. If I didn't like myself, something would really be mentally wrong with me. I'm not defending it. I'm simply sharing with you what it is. And I think, Joe, for the first time, our society, because of Floyd's death, we're actually calling it what it is. It is racism.
That's right. That's right. I mean, and what we got to do as a community, is get engaged. We got to be able to adopt a kid that you see out struggling, that's out getting close to being in the gangs, because that's no different than a family. Your family dynamics is jacked up. I'm in this city. I don't have any family. Okay. And I need that family bond of protection, and it's this group over here call themselves the Bloods, the Crips, Vice Lords, whatever gang that's in the area that can protect them, right? So now they're looking at these kids as family, okay? But us as a community, us as leaders in the community, faith-based, or religious organizations, if we can stop bashing the kids for being, those hoodlum kids, and go and grab one and take them under your wing and adopt them, it can make our next generation of leaders a whole lot better.
Joe, I appreciate everything you said. I did want to say that for those of you who are just joining us, my name is Dr. Willie Miles. I'm the president of Dr. Willie Miles Children's Foundation. And Joe, introduce yourself again. You're the president of
the Jolie Hensley Foundation. We mentor youth. We take them on college trips. We meet kids where they at, and we get them to where they need to be. So we in the trenches. We want the worst of kids. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. So when we go into school, we asking the teachers, the guidance counselors, which ones y'all ready to throw out? And we love on them. We had a kid that had a 1.9 GPA. We're definitely not condoning a 1.9 GPA, but he's in a college right now with a 3.9. When we're able to love on them, and I mean, this happened for me. I lost my dad when I was in 7th grade. I lost my dad when I was in 7th grade, and I could have easily went astray, which I did for a while. I ended up in alternative school, and I had somebody come over and mentor me. I'm in alternative school, getting ready to go back to regular class, and my guidance counselor, which was the football coach, he came over and he said, because I always thought I was the class clown. So,
hey, Joe, before you go any further, before I lose this, I haven't learned how to tag this, but one of my listeners said that there are some white folk who go to the schools reading, they go and help the kids, they do all those things. So give us some credit. I want to tell the listeners, we are giving you credit. And it's not about what white folk are doing, because in every society, there's some good folk, some good white folk, and some good black folk. There's some bad white folk and bad black folk. But what I'm talking about now is racism and killing people, not racism and reading to children. There are plenty of great people who are doing all kinds of volunteerism. And I will ask you to just put yourself in my seat for this moment, By no means am I saying, yeah, at this moment, I'm not saying you're not doing anything, and I don't need to justify you. What I am saying is that with Black people, we live a daily life of fear. And how can you be fearful and you have children? That's all I'm saying. I'm not here to talk about what you're not doing, because I don't need you to do anything else for us. I am just saying that we need police officers to stop killing us. And we need white people who are vigilantes to stop shooting down people because they're running down the street.
Right.
That's what this conversation is all about. And
right.
if you see me in rage, it's passion. So go on. I'm sorry, Joe.
You know what I'm saying? And far as the teachers and that's doing the guy that's doing all of the stuff that she said, we appreciate that. We appreciate that. We need more of it. You know what I mean? And this is not no anti anybody post. This is just trying to explain how we feel. So empathy can go a long way, right? And just listening. When you do that, it usually can go a long way instead of trying to explain yourself. Like I posted, tell a Black man that you love him today.
Mm-hmm.
And it was people that wasn't Black that came on and said, what do you say about us? What do you think we say about y'all? We say the same thing, but I ain't talking about y'all right now. I'm talking about us. Because
it's not about
we don't feel loved. We feel like if we go out in town, people will kill us just because. And then it's justified. And then it's justified because if we wouldn't have seen the tape, we still wouldn't have. A lot of these cases, people, they'll still be walking around doing the same thing to other people. So far as everything that people doing that don't look like us is very, very appreciative. It's very, very needed, and we appreciate it.
Joe,
but this live wasn't for everything that other communities are doing.
Right.
This live was for why do our kids, or how do our kids feel about seeing adult people getting murdered? And that is exactly what is happening. So for me to go and talk to one of my mentees and they tell me that they wouldn't even stop, that they'll just keep going and go on a high-speed chase.
Which means he's more high risk. He gonna be killed.
Right. Man, that's what I'm saying. But he'd rather get killed than to stop and get killed. So how do we change it? That's the dialogue. So while you mentoring, that's what we need to be talking to the kids about. As you mentoring the kids and everything that you're doing, can you please talk to them about that?
Joe, let's talk about this right here. And for my viewers, let's turn the situation around. If it was Black folk killing up white men and white boys, what do you think would happen to us? It wouldn't be they didn't have to even see us. We'd be convicted.
Oh yeah. I mean,
it would be a national disaster. It would be a health risk. It would be, the world would turn upside down if Black people did to white people what white white police officers are doing to us.
Right. And let's get it clear, man. All the polices ain't bad.
Right.
But the ones that are bad, they are messing it up for
everybody else.
You know, and I need the followers and people that's owned to understand this, man. This is an 18-year-old kid saying that instead of stopping with ID, with legitimate ID, I mean, a 4.0 student, instead of stopping, I'm going on a high-speed chase.
Joe, let's
wrap our head around this. So as you mentoring and as you tutoring, how do you tutor a kid that you done tutored and he got a 4.0, but he's still scared to stop for the police? Right. Because he's scared he's gonna die. Joe, what do you tell the kid that? How do you explain to the kid that? That's what we don't know if when a kid go out, if they even gonna make it home.
Joe, I was gonna say that
stressors that we run into daily with our kids and with us. We don't know if we gonna come home.
We're grown men. We're grown, solid men. But
Right.
and when our children leave our house, we worry about if they're gonna come back. Think about that. Joe, what other society goes through that? Joe, when we have children who go out to parties, we can't sleep until they get back. They have to call us every minute to say, I'm okay. I have a 30-year-old son, 31, and a 35. When they come to my home, guess what? They have to let me know where they're going, and they have to call me at the destination. And they call me when they're on the way home. Now, come on, give me a break. Why do I do all that? Because I fear they're going to run into the wrong person. And you never know what we feel until you lose a child that's been killed by someone.
My brother, like I ain't said, but my brother got shot in the head. He was getting robbed. He got shot in the head. And it was only us two. So, I mean, I can only imagine the stresses that's on my mom with me being the only kid that's left. I mean, I think God allowed me to be able to do this for a reason. It's a passion of mine for the fact that the life lessons that God has taught me.
Joe, I want to ask you a question. Are people still calling us the N-word?
Say that again?
Are people still calling us the N-word?
Of course.
Dude.
Of course.
I'm talking as grown men now. I'm talking grown men.
You
educated.
Man, and calling you an ignorant one. Calling you an ignorant one. And you 4 or 5 times, you way more articulate, you way more educated, you know a lot more, but it's just a mindset. You know, it's a mindset. I mean, I grew up in Southeast Georgia. You understand what I'm saying? The name of my city is Jeff Davis County, named after Jefferson Davis, right? I love my city. You know what I mean? I was born, raised there. I give back as much as I can. I love it, love it, love it. But in some parts of my city, we still stuck in an era that don't want to grow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been cases where kids didn't get the right grades from school because they was competing against somebody and they supposed to have been the valedictorian or salutatorian, and politics, right, gets in the way and the kid not able to be the val or salutatorian. And that is very, very troubling to me. You know, man, it's been times where coaches didn't want a student to go to a bigger school than their daughter going to.
Yeah.
So it's been situations where we have dialogue with the coach at the college, and the college at the school, and the coach at the school know nothing about it.
Joe,
just because he...
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Listen, we're almost running out of time, but I want to bring another person on. This is the process. Okay. I'm going to tell the other person to come in the box. You get out of the box, and I want to close out with you. So you got a request to come back on again. So we're going to hope this works.
All right. So, man, I appreciate the time.
No, you're coming back. You're coming back. Okay. No, I'm saying I'm going to talk to him for about 5-10 minutes. Then I want you to request to come back on.
Okay.
Do say, join me live. I'm going to pick you back on. Taiwan, if you're there, do a request to join me live.
All right. So I'm going to exit right now.
You're going to exit, but you're going to come back.
All right.
So hold on a second. Taiwan, if you're listening, go on and make the request. Taiwan, if you're listening, you're going to say join live. Okay, I don't have time. Okay, I don't know who this. Let's try this. Let's see if this is going to work. Joe, he's not coming on. So I want you, Joe, what I want you to do is let's see if this is it. Okay, let's see if, 1 second. Let me see if he's trying to get on. No, Joe, I got to move on. Ty, if you can't get on, I need you just to send me a join live. Joe, he's having some problems getting on. If you still hear me, I need you to join us back. Joe, if you're still there, for those who are not, who are still waiting, we're going to continue to move on. Again, our topic is about what kind of image is being set for our children when our children see us powerless. What kind of image is being set for our children when our children see us as powerless? When they see us being killed and can't respond, when they see us watching someone die and we can't respond for fear of, and knowing that if we intervene, the person's going to kill us and they will probably get off. You know, as being not just a male, but, you know, just being male, but this is most Black people's experience. And they will say, we will say, like, oh, we ain't scared of nobody. But it's not a matter of being scared of anybody. Guess what? My children know where all my papers are. My children know where my insurance policies are. My children know where I am. I say children, they're grown men now. If I go out of town, they know where I'm going. I tell them, if you don't hear from me in a certain amount of time, you need to contact me. So I have to do all of that just to ensure that my children know what there is to do, what to be doing. I think Ty is on. Let me see if I can get him now. Join live. All right. I just clicked for him to join us. Go live. Okay. Okay, Ty says you're having problems not joining. So I want Joe to come back on if you can, Joe. We were talking about the image we're setting for our children. And I wanted to give our audience an intimate idea, an intimate view of what men go through, what Black men go through. Women go through their own set of stuff. Guess what? Our children go through it. Yes, we're still being called the N-word. I don't care how educated we are and what job we're on. We're still underpaid. We're still overrepresented in the juvenile justice system. Our boys are. We're still overrepresented in the prison systems. We are overrepresented in poverty. Everything that is negative, Black people are overrepresented in it. And the issue is, people say, well, all right, they must be lazy. It's not about being lazy. It's about being denied fair and equal opportunity. And we know that. And we know that. Denied of opportunity. Being denied the opportunity. Being denied the opportunity. Each day, my sons work jobs working for various governments. And it's kind of amazing how they share with me that how racism exists. And we're not using Black as, you know, the Black card. We're simply saying these are realities. The race card. When you're told on a job and you have a master's, an MBA, that you're not as smart as you think, what is that? Your MBA speak 2 languages, but you're being told on a job that, well, you're not as smart as you think you are. And the person who told you that didn't graduate college. So the whole thought is that we have to watch what we're telling our children, and we have to also create the images for our children, create the images for them to come on and for them to be the best that they can be. We have to create that for them. And how do we create it? We have to make sure that we place our children in successful situations. Ty, you're finally on. It took a long time for you to get on, but I don't have much time, so I want to get started. All right, okay. So I want to talk to you about, you need some more lighting off so I can't see you, but I want to talk to you about what it was like for you when you first heard of the killing, because you and I talked. Like, just tell me what you went through and process it for us.
Complete devastation.
Talk a little bit louder.
Complete devastation. Complete confusion. Honestly, Dr. Miles, I'm gonna just be all the way transparent because you and I talked. I felt like I was gonna have a nervous breakdown. it was just so overwhelming, man. I mean,
I want you to speak
uh,
louder, though. I want you to project. Speak louder so the audience can hear you. Yeah.
uh, let me
You can
see
hear
if
you now.
okay. I was saying it was just complete devastation. I felt like I was gonna have a nervous breakdown, which is why I called you because I was felt like I was having a nervous breakdown.
Describe what that nervous breakdown feels like. Like, to tell me the emotions that like, what were you going through?
Uncontrollable crying, feeling like I'm gonna lose my mind. Um, every emotion that you can possibly think of multiplied by 1,000.
Right. Every emotion. I want to share with you, Ty, that you're not the only one. There are many, many black men who felt the same thing. They felt this gut wrenching that they actually witnessed a brother being killed and no one could do anything. We actually saw the last breath coming out of his mouth. And you said you felt like you had a nervous breakdown. There are many others who said the very same thing. It's that their soul was on fire and they felt helpless. They know what to do. Now, now check this out. We are strong black men. I say that the
Yes,
world is in trouble when black men start crying.
most definitely, Dr. Miles. We're connected to God. You know, we're a spiritual people having a physical experience, and
You've got to talk louder.
we're connected to God. We're a spiritual people having a physical experience. So because we are connected to God, we have to remember that even the children of Israel, he fed them manna from the sky, right? He saw them through that. He kept them through that the same way he has kept us here in this country for the last 400 plus years through the most inhumane treatment that you can possibly think of. So I believe that God is moving in a major way. My spirit wept like it has never wept before, and I had absolutely no control over it.
Yeah, I want to share that there are other men who reported the very same thing to me. Now, I'm not talking about the young people. I'm talking about the older guys. They're saying that they felt something happened when they heard
Yes,
him cry out for his mother. When they heard him cry out for his mother, they said they felt something had happened to them. And they're not over it. Now, as a clinician, and I see Diana Rice on, a good seeing Diana, we know that that's traumatic.
yes.
We know that that is a trauma that occurred. And so you can't say, oh, I'll get over it. You really have to get some help because it's fixed on your mind. Not only is it fixed on your mind, but you'll even start behaving differently. And that's why when you talk about black men, talk about behaving differently, we go through a lot that no one would ever understand. And we don't talk to our wives and our girlfriends about it. They have no idea what we go through. And I will ask you all to please come out of your selfish selves. Somehow, oh, well, we go through a whole lot too. What you've got before y'all tonight is black males who are being raw and honest.
Well, let me say this, Dr. Miles. This is something that I have to say. Black women, as always, stepped up on the front lines in a major way. Um, so I believe they did their part. As far as us as men to feel that you're not able to do what God created you to do, which is to protect and provide for your family. That's why you have the reaction that you have from the young people, because see, that's my generation, millennial. And just to be quite frank, my generation ain't having it. And I think the world sees that.
Yeah, you're speaking now. Diana, I see you. Thank you for being here. Stay on. I also want you to be on one of our guests, Diana. So I want to contact with you. Diana Rice is a young lady who worked for me for years ago, and she's done excellent work in the psychotherapeutic field. And I'm glad she's connected with me, and we're going to have her on one week. But I want to talk about, again, I say focus on this black male thing. Now, I have a little more time. Ty, I want you to give me some close out, because I do want to bring back Joe Hensley, who was our original guest. But I want to get you on because I want our audience to get some raw emotions, some raw emotions.
When
Right?
you when you say raw emotions, Dr. Mile, we have to be honest with ourselves. We gotta call a spade a spade. These people hunting us and killing us. And it's not a white and black thing. This is good versus evil. We are God's children. And when you're directly opposing God himself.
Well,
so go ahead.
yeah, but I did want to get into this religious scene because I understand that God created all of us. You know, he's
Yes.
you know, so when you say that when you say that we're God's people, I think that all people are God's people. Some of them have just gone away. So I don't want to set the image like, oh, we're God's people and y'all the devil's people. So I don't want to. I want to get into that kind of realm.
The human race is God's people.
Yeah, I don't want to get to the realm of religion and talk about separation. I want to talk about what's real here. And I ain't talking about fighting spiritual warfare. You and I know that. I'm talking about life. I'm talking about what black men face. That's all I'm talking about. I'm talking about what we go through on a daily basis. I'm talking about when we go into the streets, what we face. I'm talking about what our can you imagine having your son in the car with you, police stops you, and your son see you become immediately passive. Yes, sir, what can I do for you? I didn't do anything. Versus as an adult, why'd you stop me? Are you with me?
That has happened to me, Dr. Miles, and I'm not one of those passive guys because I am an educated guy, and I studied somewhat a little bit of law, and I'm just not having another man think he gonna disrespect me because of a badge or a uniform, because I'm not gonna be disrespectful. I'm gonna give him the same courtesy and respect that I would think that he would give me just as a human being.
Right. All right. Ty, I want to thank you. I want to see if Joe can get back on. I want to see if Joe can get back on. Joe, if you can get back on, I want you to come and close us out. Ty, thank you so much for sharing your views with us. And I think that we should have more of these kind of conversations, not just about black men, but about black families and also Latino families and about white families. I would love to have, if anybody wants to volunteer, I would love to have a white family on because there's some black stereotypes. We think that all white people are rich. We think that many of them are evil. So I'd like to have that kind of discussion because the only way we can get rid of racism, the only way we can get rid of it is by dealing with it, and working together. There's one race and it should be the human race, But, you know, I find ourselves, Ty, that as a black person, I'm always saying that. I'm always saying reconcile. I'm always saying forgiving. I'm always saying love everybody. But I don't see it from others. I don't see others stop doing it. I just don't see it.
Dr. Miles, I personally think that it's an illness, you know, this racism thing. You know, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, she diagnosed it for what it is. And see, when the white man say, or when a evil person, let me say that, when an evil person sees you as a threat, that's because genetically they see themselves in their eyes as genetically inferior. So in order for them to survive, they have to get rid of us. So when you look at it through that lens, that's a very dangerous mindset for a man to look at you as the reason why he could potentially one day be extinct.
That's a very good point. Again, I'm going to close you out. I have a few more minutes. I'm going to try. Ty, thank you so much. I'm going to talk to you later on. Thank you for being on tonight.
Thank you.
All right. All right. I hope that we can get Joe back on, Joe Hensley. And if Joe can't get back on, he has been a wonderful helping out the community. He's been wonderful in making sure that these young people get scholarships. But you know something? Joe and I have worked together for a long time. We've all done some good things. But I didn't want tonight to be about the good things. I want tonight to be about the issues. I want tonight to be about my frustration. I want the night to be about my hurt and my pain and my embarrassment. I want tonight to be about my sense of helplessness when it comes to protecting my family. I want tonight to be about me going to bed and not knowing if someone's going to come in my house and shoot me by mistake. I have all these fears, and then people ask, why do you have high blood pressure? Because you have all this anxiety. You have all this anxiety. And my friends, it never goes away. From the day we are born until the day we die, it's not that we're afraid of white folk. That's not the issue. It's we're afraid that we can be taken out at any moment over some craziness. If we fear that, what must our children be thinking? What must our children be thinking if we view this, if we feel this way, what must our children be thinking? And that's my concern. You know, I don't want to look weak before my sons because I'm strong. Joe, thank you so much for being back. You heard the young man before. He was absolutely wonderful. Joe, you heard my plea, and I don't want to dominate this but I just feel this thing, and I've always felt this. And you know, when you feel this, your passion becomes you racist. My passion is I'm aggressive. No. I'm just
listen, I mean, listen, all right, so pro-black is not anti anything. All right. I love me. Right. And for 400 years, it has been taught for us to not love us, and for us, and it was taught that we are less than other races.
Right.
You know, so this is something that's been ingrained in us for 400 years. So for somebody to say, oh yeah, you got the same opportunities as everybody else, and you got this and you got that. I mean, I'm living proof to tell you, right? If it wasn't for somebody that invested in me, you know what I mean? You got kids that's coming from mom and dad, school already paid for, and you got somebody that's done grew up and mom selling the food stamps, mom on crack, mom doing X, Y, and Z, and you saying that y'all got the same field, that you coming up from the same field? It don't make no sense. It's so many different obstacles against these young people. Don't get me wrong, it's an opportunity for them to be able to do it. Okay. Right. But for you to say that they're on the same level and playing field is ridiculous. And then I seen one of the comments, one of the parents had adopted a kid that was of African American descent. And she said that this conversation is very, very troubling to her. Just imagine, for all of our life, that's what we've had to deal with.
Hey, Joe, our time is running out. We got to go.
All right.
But I want to thank you for being on.
I'm Joe Hensley. Hey, listen, it's an honor, Doc. I appreciate it. I thank God for this opportunity. And if we can help anybody on the feed, please feel free to reach out. Let us know.
Hey, Joe, how can people reach you?
You can reach me. Our email address is Joe Lee Hensley Foundation @yahoo.com, or phone number 912-574-1905. We have a website. We got a Facebook page. Please like our Instagram. Please like our Facebook. Please like our Twitter. And if we can help, please let us know, man. Feel free.
Gotta go. I'm gonna have you on again and talk about the foundation. Hey, thank you for everything.
All right.
Thanks to our listeners. We're gonna see you next week, same time, same place.
All right.